we look at one of the things that makes the West in terms of scientific achievements is understanding of atoms and the periodic table. But atoms were not discovered first by modern Westerners. It was ancient Westerners like Lysippus and Democritus. Now, this might be impressive, but the story then fragments and they say 1,000 years later, only about 1,500 years later, was the atomic theory then taken seriously again. This is a lie because we have right here in the 8th century the black scholar Al Jahiz writing about the atom. And at first, he talks about how a fool who had heard philosophers talk about the atom was pretending to know what it is. And then he explains exactly what it is at the bottom. So he says, one of our friends questioned Abu Lukman, the fool, about the invisible particle, the atom. The atom, he replied, is Ali bi Abi Talib. Abu al Aina asked him, are there no other atoms in the world? Indeed, there are, Hamza and Jafar. What about Al Abbas? He is an atom. What do you say about Abu Bakr and Umar? Abu Bakr is divisible and Umar is divisible, and Uthman, he is doubly divisible, and so is Al Zubair. And what do you say about Muawiyah? He is indivisible. We wondered what on earth Abu Lukman meant by calling the Imam Ali an atom, and eventually we came to the conclusion that he must have heard theologians talking about the indivisible particle and been impressed by this and supposed that it was a cardinal term in philosophy and that anything really important was described as an atom. The idea of the atom was first mentioned by Jabir ibn Hayyan, who is known as the real father of modern chemistry. He invented something where he called it the science of simplicity, or Ilm al Mizan, in which he said that everything can be broken down into simpler forms. And as such, he created an early periodic table where he put different elements in different sections, metals on one side, airs on another, all this other stuff. His groups were numerous and do not properly represent the modern periodic table, but he was definitely on the right track. But there's something else. Jabir ibn Hayyan doesn't seem to be one person, but instead he seems to be a bunch of people who would credit all their ideas to this one guy. It's thought that most of them were Sufis, and some of them would have been people who would have been marginalized, perhaps black or even other scholars, and this pseudonym helped their ideas go through without question, or with question, but without other question of discrimination. According to Samir S. Armour and Ableghani Tabaki, Jabir al-Hayyan contributed a lot to modern chemistry, including crystallization, calcination, sublation, evaporation of acids, hydrochloric, nitric, citric, acetic, tartric, and distillation using his greatest inventions, alembic. Other achievements included preparation of various metals, development of steel, dyeing of clothes, and tanning of leather, varnishing of waterproof clothing, use of manganese dioxide in glass making, prevention of rusting, and identification of paints and greases. He also developed aqua regia to dissolve gold Jabba suggested three categories of the natural elements: spirits, which vaporize on heating, metals like gold, silver, lead, iron, and copper, and stones that can be converted to powder. There are some people who insist that science is a Western thing, but it's quite clear by reading this that it's not, and that lots of people of various races contributed to science. I'll leave you with this. This is from Congo, um, up for the natives of Bolobo. And the writer of this was talking about the people in Africa and their languages and how they display some scientific knowledge. The time had now come when we could no longer speak amongst reedy islets or wander in secret amongst wilderness or water. We must once more confront man, the native, as we had ascertained opposite Balobo, was not the destructive, infuriative of Irebu or Momperengi, or the frantic brute of Mangala and Marunja. He appeared to be toning down into the man and to understand that others of his species inhabit this globe. At least we hope so. We wish to test the accuracy of this belief, and now eagerly searched for opportunities to exchange greetings and to claim kindred with him. As we had industrially collected a copious vocabulary of African languages, we felt a certain confidence that we had been sufficiently initiated into the science of the Aboriginal language to be able to begin practicing it. We don't have to speculate about black scholars and their contributions to science and other subjects like law. I already showed you there were lawyers who were black and were written about as black men, even in Egypt during the Golden Age. And so I want you to put one thing in your mind. We have foolproof evidence of black scholars engaging in science prior to the Europeans being even slightly interested, because science is like a baton and it can be passed to any human who reaches out his hand. Don't look at the world as some place where Europeans invent everything and then everybody else has to piece together their own culture based on European throwaways, but instead look at the European innovations as a push from other innovations around the world, including that of people like Al Jahiz or Ibn Jahiz, who is a precursor or a pre version or brought a pre version of evolution, atomization, and other sciences that I haven't even mentioned because he was a polymath. He was not just a guy who did evolution.